Hello, and welcome to my new podcast called Finding Home. Here I'm going to explore the different avenues of spirituality and religion and finding yourself along the entire way. My name is Max, and I will be interviewing my close friends and compadres as I too try to find who I am and who I want to manifest to become. For our first guest in the first episode of this obviously very notorious, very big channel that's going to pop up and explode in the timelines, this is my friend from college.
Hey, what's up? My name's Chase, and I run the Akashic Librarian YouTube channel. Check me out.
Yep. So Chase, we can go right into this, or we can, take the scenic route. But basically, I wanted to kind of find out your thoughts about the crisis we're in right now in the world. What do you think about this bubble?
So, you want me to answer about the coronavirus or the economy?
The coronavirus's effect on the economy, getting out of jobs and kind of like getting out of different places because of like forced mandates, and then people aren't even allowed to look at each other in the face anymore. And then there seems to be a lot at play here, but maybe I'm just thinking too far ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, the whole mask mandate and everyone wearing masks definitely destroys people's spirit. And first of all, the mask mandates aren't even lawful. And the whole coronavirus thing is just big government trying to step on the little guy's freedom. Like, why would they close all the small businesses when all the big businesses are still open?
That makes no sense whatsoever. It's like you're expecting the people in big businesses that have to manage thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are able to follow instructions, but small businesses with very small amount of people to manage and very small traffic in their places anyways are incapable of following directions that need to be enforced to save the planet from a disease. I think that is very ridiculous, but that's just like part of the answer to me, because it's also like doing stuff like that, you have to you're destroying people's livelihoods. There's some people that was their dream, was to make these small businesses and just live by themselves and figure this all out. And by taking that away from them, I would imagine spiritually and egotistically in these like people's bubbles, they are crushed, and the suicide rates and other things are, I'm sure, summiting to the freaking top of the charts in the death toll of America.
Lots of domestic violence increases in the household during this time as well.
For sure, just because of alcohol intake, different drugs, like there's nothing else to do, boredom, people can't live with themselves in their own spiritual set where they have been twisted for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why I kind of made this podcast, was to try to get people to find that center, to try to get back into finding a place where they can where they don't have to resort to vices all the time and to like hedonism or pleasure or different mind altering states, so they can try to find themselves and live with themselves, because it's very hard to live with yourself when you're just sitting there thinking of what you did in the past all the time, just stuck in your house. You can't move anywhere, you can't make new friends. It's very hard to you got to be creative in new ways, and there's not a lot of direction right now, it seems. But what inspired you to start the Akashic Librarian YouTube channel?
What inspired me is that I was in college and I found that through learning mathematics, basically college math is just completely BS. They teach you infinity and all this other crap about ill-formed concepts.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that from John Gabriel, but besides that, I decided to make my own curriculum. It's called four-dimensional education, although some other people also have the same idea. So there's a book called Four-Dimensional Education. It's the same idea that I have. So I decided to just keep writing in my notebooks the whole curriculum of four-dimensional education, and it came to a point where I needed to express that, and based on my research, I chose the name Akashic Librarian to express the four-dimensional educational model.
I think that's really interesting. What do you where does acoustic come from? That's like an alien reference, or is that a
Akasha means quintessence or fifth essence. It's like outer space, basically. Space librarian or cosmic libtard.
Librarian?
Yeah.
The librarian is a very important distinction as well. I don't know if you ever watched the Twilight Zone or anything
I've seen
like Field. They have this one episode where it's like the obsolete man.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of it?
No.
They had it's like people in government could decide who was going to live and who was going to die based on their essential values and if they were going to contribute to the state or the government at the time. And so librarians were sort of phased out as part of their agenda because they wanted to try to get people away from education.
Wow.
Or writing down
Yeah.
anything or marking a certain history,
Yeah.
like history or learning knowledge. So so in the Twilight Zone, the librarian was obviously pretty smart as well, and when they declared that he was obsolete and not essential for what they were doing, they demanded that he die, and then he has one last request, and he screws over some of the. They make the they make one of the head statement, the guy that declared him to die in court, to admit that God existed, and then he.
Oh, that's pretty baller.
Yeah, so if he made him proclaim that God existed, he had to get executed as well, and that's how that episode ended. Sorry, I ruined it for you guys.
Yeah.
But
funny you should say that, because I went to the library recently. Well, the library in I think Cody, Wyoming. The mask mandate is still there, but the one here in Delray, you can't even walk around the library. Like, you have to walk up to the receptionist, ask for the exact book that you want, and you can only stay there for 30 minutes.
Oh my god!
So I was like, this sucks.
Can't
Get me
even
out of here.
Enjoy it, look around, enjoy like the scene, find new books. You have to already know what you want.
Exactly.
That's ruining the experience almost. Some people just go to the library just to read. Some people just go to the library just to research, get a quiet place and, try to find themselves or meditate in a way. I sort of consider reading as like a form of meditation. I don't know how scientific that is or anything, but
I'm sure
I'm gonna keep saying
studies.
that. Yeah, there is like a point to going to the library and being like being forward and like trying to obtain knowledge, and it seems like more and more we're trying to, like, the agenda is to push it away from that. There seems like there's a lot of, you should go spend your time looking at porn instead, or you should spend your time trying to play video games or like other things, which isn't like a huge deal. Like, sure, if you want to do that, if you're into sort of these lustful or you know, greed or whatever, into these sins, then you can do that. But like the search for, you know, trying to be righteous or trying to be yourself without succumbing to like some of these lesser frequency things, or lesser valued things at like as like a spiritual level,
Yeah.
you kind of are looked down upon by everybody else. Everybody else is kind of like shaming you for like trying to reach these higher levels. At least that's what I think.
It's funny how the counterculture back then in the 80s went completely backwards.
Oh yeah.
Like being a Christian is now counterculture. What's up with that?
Completely counterculture. Anybody who, it's almost like in Twilight Zone where anybody who like even wants to say that there is a God, or if there is like other stuff besides a simulation, which by the way, if you say it's a simulation, there's still a creator to the simulation.
Right.
Or is that just like thrown out of the window? That's just a lower frequency of your mindset. Saying a simulation is like, I don't like people that say it's a simulation, because you're acknowledging that there's obviously a pattern going on and there's like something, but you're not giving any credit. It seems like.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, you know, it's just a computer doing that. You're not getting it. You think you get it, and you like think you're smart or something, but you have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly.
You almost see it, but you don't see the whole picture. What I was saying before that was your God is, the state is your God, or the government is your God. These huge corporations and everything. These
Yeah.
are the people that you need to be taking a knee for and, you know, bowing down to and stuff. And I think that is gonna bite some people in the ass if they, you know, if they don't realize the symbolism behind what's happening, behind what they're doing. But, you know, also I'm coming on a little strong here.
Yeah, definitely.
There's also this issue of me taking up a lot of the time. I kind of want you to just like talk about. I don't know what you want to.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to talk about either.
Yeah, I know that's.
Just if you have any questions, I'm free to answer.
Yeah. Certainly, I have questions about like.
Or if you want to get my opinion on anything, stuff
Yeah.
like that.
What do you think about spiritually, like a creator? Do you think there's a creator?
Definitely.
Okay.
God, 100%.
Mhm. You're a Christian as well. I'm a Christian.
Yeah. Well, I would say I'm a Christian because I don't drink blood. I don't drink human blood. I don't eat babies. I don't go to church because only pagans go to church
Yeah.
every Sunday.
That's in the book I just sent, Behold the Pale Horse.
Mhm.
They have a section in there by proclaiming that the holy day is Sunday instead of Saturday. You're actually going back to the Roman times of paganism, and
Yeah.
where the Romans were basically rulers at the Vatican, and those people were proclaiming that Sunday was the righteous, or the day of, you know, taxes or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, so, not saying that the Sabbath was a Saturday, you sort of lose credibility. Not credibility, you lose
Integrity?
sight. You lose sight of what.
Sight, okay.
Yeah, integrity, and you also lose, like, you lose the picture. You lose the perception of the what you're doing.
Another thing I don't like about churches is that when they file themselves as a nonprofit organization with the IRS under 501c3, they basically just snipped all their balls and let the government rape them.
They let them. It becomes church and state.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
becomes the same thing anyways, by having to register into these different groups. By registering, and like that's almost admitting defeat. Like you acknowledge that they exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so having like a church do that.
Pay their
For
tithes
the
to the
government.
state, the pagan state.
It's very backwards. It's very inversed of like what we were told or tried to taught as kids, I believe. But you also meet a lot of friends there. You in school, and you meet. It's a good social outing, but right at a time like this, it seems that's even been inverted to where you can't really. You're not meeting anybody.
I'm not saying people shouldn't go to church. I'm saying that when a church pays taxes, that's not separation of church and state. People should definitely go hang out, church, get along with each other, love each other. I have no problem with that. And especially the state saying that you can't go to church, but you can go protest with 100 plus people. That's very backwards to me.
Extremely backwards. And then you see these videos online now. It's looking like a war zone.
Yeah.
A lot of places, and it seems like it's only going to be escalating till this rapture comes.
Let's hope it comes soon.
Yeah. I hope you're ready for that.
You know what? Have you ever seen V for Vendetta?
I have seen
The movie?
V for Vendetta.
Doesn't it take place in 2020?
Oh, I have no idea.
Where
I know
there's
they
a
say,
global virus.
Yeah, they do have that in V for Vendetta, and I know they say remember the 5th of November, which seems like it's coming up soon.
Yeah, it is coming up
And if
soon.
that is in the 2020, it's a better time than any.
Have you heard of David Icke?
I have heard of David Icke.
I
as
feel
of this
like
year.
David Icke prepared me for this year more than anything else.
When did you hear about David Icke?
Well, I saw like a few YouTube videos back when I was really young about this guy talking about reptilians, and I was like, what's that about?
Yeah.
That's nothing. And then, like 2 years ago, I found out who David Icke actually was, and he talks about spirituality and consciousness, and I realized that's way more important than whatever BS is on TV. So I started following David Icke, like listening to his messages and actually understanding that we need to love each other and not just separate ourselves into oblivion.
Absolutely. The more they divide us, it's easier to conquer
Definitely.
each other. And that's almost like from Art of War, like from a movie or from a book 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
I heard of David Icke like a year ago, maybe this year, and I think he's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
He had I know their big thing to try to get rid of him or try to make him look ridiculous was like, saying reptilian stuff. They asked him on like British television if he was like the second coming of Jesus, if he was Jesus or something, and he's like, he does kind of feel like that. And it's like, we all are kind of like Jesus in a way, right? We're made in their image. We're made in the image of God, I think. It's very interesting that when he tried to give his answer, people were trying to laugh at him and embarrass his family and this crazy, like, so much jabbing and so much humiliation he was trying to go through at, like, for his whole family. Like, he probably doesn't care about it, but, like, having, like, a kid and a son that was just like, oh my God, like, what the fuck? I'm the guy that's, dad says that he's Jesus. And
Wow.
What's awesome is that when he, even in that interview still, like, he felt like he kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Like, saying that. But then after, like, even after he said that and they laughed, he was like, it's funny because even if I really was Jesus, or if Jesus was down here and you asked him that question and he said yes, you guys would all still laugh.
Yep.
And that is kind of true in a way. But it's also
The hypocrisy of mainstream media.
Absolutely. There's sometimes it's just like a freaking button they press and people are laughing.
That's yeah.
Like Friends. You ever watch
stupid.
Friends?
No.
It was
I don't watch
horrible.
any
Sitcom.
laugh track shows.
Oh, yeah, laugh
It's just
track
so
shows.
annoying.
Disney Channel was huge on that stuff.
Yeah.
Disney Channel had everybody thinking that everybody was laughing every 2 seconds
Yeah.
over, somebody hair, like, out of place or something.
Nice way to slide some commie propaganda in there.
Oh, for certain. Walt Disney, from what I heard, and then I tried to research a little bit, was a complete Satanist, actually.
Yeah.
And they have, I don't know if you've seen it recently in the news, they changed some of the Lilo and Stitch scenes.
Really?
Yeah, from the Disney Plus. It's like, so they have the original DVD, and on Disney Plus they changed some of the scenes so that the babysitter of Lilo opens, like, Lilo is hiding in, like, a pizza box thing.
Yeah.
And then the babysitter finds her in there instead of like hiding it in the laundry.
That's interesting.
Right at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So that is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I wonder how they would change that or why.
I don't know why they would change it either. But, Disney has a lot of symbolism in it as well. As after you do like a psychedelic or something, you start thinking about a lot of the Disney experiences and stories.
Yep.
And they have a lot of underlying themes in them.
Yeah.
That people don't even realize. Pinocchio really stood out to me when I
Why is
started
that?
watching Pinocchio again. Because what happens is Pinocchio wants to be a real boy.
Uh-huh.
And he wants to be like a famous person, really.
Yeah.
He just wants to be like very cool. And they have this scene where he goes to Pleasure Island with all the boys. And all the boys are just like drinking beer, like his age, like the original one that was like a cartoon way long ago. And so when the boys stay there for too long, drinking beers as like an 8-year-old or 10-year-olds.
I hated beer when I was young.
Yeah, I didn't like it either, but I stayed away from it. They turn into donkeys.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then they ship them back into the world. And then so everybody becomes donkeys. But Pinocchio escapes, and then he has to fight off like a giant whale and beats up and saves his father. Stuff. It's also ties in to this music video I just watched by Panic at the Disco. They have a Hey Look Ma, I Made It. That one has a lot of references to Pinocchio. And so when Pinocchio wants to be like a real boy, he kind of he has to sign like some paperwork, like, because these foxes are like trying to get him to be a person.
Okay.
But they're like selling him into fame, selling him into like these different things. I just think that is very interesting. Obviously, all the Disney movies have their hidden meanings.
Their predictive programming.
Mm-hmm. What was your favorite Disney movie?
It's a tough one.
Or which one you
I
watched?
try not to remember Disney movies.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that was bad. Especially looking back at it, you're like, damn, these are all crazy.
I guess Pixar movies are alright. I like WALL-E. I think I've seen that a few times.
True. I actually saw WALL-E one time.
Okay.
And it was like, I liked it.
Yeah.
I think
Or
they're safer.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
Toy Story 1. But then again, like, it's just kids' movies. I don't...
Yeah, I don't see the point of all that stuff.
Yeah.
Kids' movies. Like, it's like, oh, there's people that don't want to deal with it because it's like kids' stuff. And then the people that are interested in these sort of kids' movies or like trying to bring entertainment to kids also kind of have their agenda some of the times.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to realize that now. But that's like, how long has that been happening?
For a long time.
Certainly, yeah.
Lots of, the television programming people, like, from young people to old people. People who still watch television are just being programmed by the mainstream media. Any media on television Like, if you can't go to the library to read the books you want to read, and then they put on just television entertainment to waste your time, brainwash you, do all this other stuff to put you in fear consciousness, that's extremely destructive to everyone.
I absolutely agree with that. This fear consciousness is always coming back. Fear, they really love these useful idiots that are just always sharing their stuff as well. What do you think about the failed protest of the NBA players?
I can't say I know too much about it because I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch any sports. Like, if it's on TV, I might glance at the television, but, like, I really don't know anything about it.
What kind of sports did you play?
I've played soccer when I was, like, 10 to 14, but that's it. And then after that, I picked up shuffling, and I've been a shuffler ever since.
Really?
Yeah, and I recently met this guy on Atlantic Ave who recorded a shuffle video of me and posted on TikTok. And then now I'm going to his studio next week to make some music because I've also learned how to make music.
What kind of programs do you use to make music?
I use Logic Pro. Basically, I was listening to a lot of hardstyle when I was younger, and then I wanted to make music so I could make shuffle videos that didn't get copyright claimed. But in that process, I just like fell in love with sound design. Not really music making. I just spent so much time designing sounds and trying to make my own music. So I ended up going to industrial hardcore techno. Just so I could learn the software. So I just made like a bunch of distorted kick drums and all this other stuff. But then eventually, by the end of it, I came out with another song, which by the way is Cosmic Meta Modernist. Feel free to check that out. Decide for yourself if it's good or bad. I don't know. But I was able to copyright that song and include it in my videos. And now those videos are copyright claimed.
Nice. And then so music, I think, is another way to attach to the soul and the spirit, speak in a different like tone. And I think music is a very good influencer on like how to get people like programmed, but also like how to maybe, get people
program and
deprogrammed by themselves. Like non-lyrical music.
Yeah.
It can be very soothing, can be very hardcore. There's so many different avenues to go, and you don't have to listen to the bullshit.
Yeah.
You don't listen, to people trying to feed you something.
Affirmations that, like, if you listen to a song a lot, that's affirming yourself, like, as if you said it yourself.
Right. You try to connect to it and make it almost seem like it was your voice that was saying it.
Yes, exactly.
If
you listen to it a lot.
Yeah, if you listen to it a lot, then it's almost like programmed, and you just download it into you, and you're like, yeah, this is in my head, stuck in my head forever.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very easy. That's why that was one of the theories of how the Bible got created, was because it was actually written through song.
That's really cool.
And it was spoken through song, and then people would just keep reiterating it, and then eventually people could write it down in the tongue, in the Hebrew language at the time.
Uh-huh.
And so that was how, that was the theory, at least.
Yeah.
Of, how it was always the same story.
I didn't know that.
I heard that from this musician, this rapper, Immortal Tech.
Okay.
His name.
Yeah.
He has some very interesting theories, but he's also a communist, which is very interesting as well.
Oh, no.
How do you feel about communism?
It's... The ideology is just completely broken, and it only serves the people at the top, like the back of a $1 bill.
Mm-hmm.
The Illuminati pyramid, who's at the top? Communists, or Lucifer, or Satan.
Yeah, it's always the same people. And it's like, oh, we're going to save the world with communism. It's like, No, I don't think so. I think people have been trying that for a very long time. There's so many deaths due to communism.
Yeah.
Like Stalin, for example, after World War II, had these camps called the gulags,
Oh yeah.
gulags, and he would have these gulags for people who didn't believe in communism. And then once the Russians got back from World War II that fought the soldiers, they were exposed to other walks of life besides communism, and Stalin perceived that every single guy who fought for him had to go to these gulags to die. Basically, it's like another form of concentration camps
Wow.
by the Russians. And there's a bunch of books on that fall as well. Obviously, Communist Manifesto is probably the classic, but there's also Gulag Archipelago
Yeah.
and different things like that. But yeah, people that push people just get in these positions, these famous positions of power, and they probably have to. They get a little bit of information. That's where they can sort of get ahead on people.
Yeah.
And then they always want to add that twist at the end instead of like trying to perfect it, or not. You don't even have to perfect it or undo changes from the past. They want to just stack whatever it is. It goes with the Constitution. It goes with Bill of Rights. It goes with a lot of things that people respect are powerful, like the church as well. It's just stacked. Anything, oh, let's just leave it how it is, and then let's just add to it, 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 add to it. And I think we're getting to that boiling point where things are starting to tip over.
Yeah.
But I still have a lot of freaking research to do, and I obviously am always willing to change my ideas, and not for communism, but like for other stuff.
Well, as long as you keep your mind on love and God and don't drink baby blood, you should be good.
Absolutely, man. That's the ultimate compromise. These people are deep. Some of these people, and I guess it's coming quicker than we think. We have this Q movement
Yeah.
that a lot of people are into. What do you think about Q? When did you start hear about Q?
Pretty much near the inception of Q, October 17th is when the first post was.
Right, 2016?
Yeah. No, not. I think it was 2017.
2017.
I probably caught on to it November 2017. And it's grown quite large. I saw, like 2 days ago, on Atlantic Avenue, the downtown street, who is Q, spray painted on the street.
Oh my god.
Yeah, twice. And that's how I knew it was like...
That's pretty big.
Yeah,
here.
this
Oh
is the moment. This is the year. Some, like my friends from high school asked me if I was Q back back when it was going on.
So fast.
Yeah, because I caught on, and basically, I think Q is... Its purpose was to expose the tech censorship, because, I mean, some of the stuff, what Q was saying, I understood, some of it not really, but the other people in the tech and the mainstream media, they just want to shut that down completely, so...
yeah, it opened a lot of people's eyes to censorship then about Q.
Yes.
Or exposing him.
Yes. So it started on 4chan. 4chan kicked Q off, so Q moved to 8chan. And then people were taking Q's posts and putting them on other websites like Reddit, and I think that's the biggest one. And then a year later, Banhammer strikes, all the outside sources get shut down, and then probably 6 months after that, the 8chan hosting service, Cloudflare, completely shuts down, takes them off, and then following that, 8chan moves their server into Russia. And I can't believe nobody talks about this. Like, the mainstream media is like Russia this, Russia that, but they're not going to say Q is posting from
Q.
Russia. That, I mean, it's just the biggest hoax. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it. And then now, Q still posts on 8kun, the new service, but like seeing what the deep state did to 8chan, just because like some anonymous poster posted some information, they just don't want them to see it. Like, I don't get it.
That's crazy. So people have, because if you're not paying attention to Q, you haven't seen too much of that outside of Q. You might see like Alex Jones, like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But people are used to it from the Q movement.
Mhm.
Everybody in Q is just like, we've seen this like all the time.
All-
They're always
Pretty
hounding.
much completely censored.
Yeah, new cleanse, like YouTube channels especially.
Yep.
They always kick out. There's a few alternatives popping up though all the time. There's like Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. Twitch is Bitcoin SV application. So everything you post on Twitch is stored forever on the Bitcoin SV blockchain. And Twitch is like a big intersection between QAnon and Bitcoin and what else is there? Social media censorship, because you can't get censored on Twitch unless they kick you off, but there's no reason to do that.
Yeah, that would have to be like.
You
would have-
still keep all of your data. Like,
Yeah.
all of your data is still yours, and you keep it with you even if you're kicked off the platform.
Another one would be like Gab. I think Gab is a very good one as well. Its founder is a Christian guy, Andrew Torba, and he does. He's making his rounds a little bit now. There's a lot of Q followers
Yeah.
that have migrated to the Gab website because I guess they get crucified on freaking YouTube or demonetized on YouTube and these different Twitter and all these different things like Praying Medic. I understand is a very avid follower and
Yeah.
he decrypts a lot of Q's messages.
Yep.
But there's other ones as well. But the censorship is like kind of the biggest issue like ever. And it's kind of like we were expecting to have like this free speech kind of just carry over
Yeah.
like to the internet. And it's turned out not to be so easy.
Yeah, that's not
Especially-
the case.
Yeah. Especially with how people had a hold for so long. Seems like there wasn't really a need to do it until people started waking up.
And another big problem with the internet is that the monetary services on the internet are based on the dollar,
Can you talk to them?
and the dollar is just dead.
Tanking. Yeah, because it's not backed by anything. It's not
Exactly.
going by from silver or gold. They're off those standards, and so it'll be interesting to see what. And we're going cashless too now. There's a little push for cashlessness.
Well, I think cashless is a different subject entirely, because the dollar the idea of the dollar is already not backed by anything. So the internet today is also not backed by anything either. And this is what blockchain and cryptocurrencies are trying to overcome: the censorship and monetizing your ideas and making a more permanent internet that's not just backed by nothing.
Mm-hmm. I think that's very important to try to like back what we were having, like the Bitcoin and these different other cryptocurrencies are trying to get on the rise because they can also be tracked. It seems like just the regular
Yeah.
dollar, because there's paperwork behind all these things from the banks and different, compromised systems. already, from the euro, trying to make it like, all one currency,
Yeah.
and then countries.
So back to the cashless thing. We are already cashless. The physical notes, that's not cash, it's currency. Cash would be a note indicating some sort of physical value. The physical notes we have don't have any value. It's just a piece of paper with artwork on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like saying, oh, we're going to go to a cashless society by phasing out the dollar bills. No, we're already there.
Oh yeah, we've always been reprinting, and like there's unlimited potential, especially if we get rid of all the money. All the money decays from freaking erosion. We're still getting this. There's no limit
Right.
to it, and by not having
QE infinity.
yeah, not having these limits or value to associate with what we're using to exchange, like where can we get it from? Where are we finding? There could be just an error on a computer,
Exactly.
and that could be infinity.
Yeah. The people at the Federal Reserve say that they simply mark up the amount of the account on the computer. So, you mind if I play some examples for you?
Yeah, let's do it. We're always experimenting here at finding home.
Is that tax money that the Fed is spending?
It's not tax money. We simply use the computer to mark up the size of the account.
They use the computer to mark up the size of the account. It's literally just
Program.
numbers on a screen.
Zeros and ones.
I have another one for you here.
Now who's speaking here?
This is Jerome Powell. I don't know the last person.
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally, and we do that by buying treasury bills or bonds or other government guaranteed securities, and that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that to the Federal Reserve banks.
That guy just sounds like he has no idea like how it actually works.
He's clueless.
But I guess that's just skeptic in me.
Yeah.
He's like, he just looked lost saying it, like looking at his face. But
They just mark up the account. It's like there's no value to it. It's not even like what you're seeing on the screen is some manipulation of ones and zeros. How do those ones and zeros turn into the dollars represented in base 10?
digitally, and they don't even have it. Like, when did they start doing this?
I think 1971 or
When they got off this
gold standard. Yeah. And
they immediately switched to this zeros and ones, flooding an account.
Yeah.
Okay, let's hope so. So they can fill the timeline with that.
And they don't even have to print it. Like, all this 26 trillion debt. Like,
yeah.
there's only 1.7 trillion
Printed.
printed.
Yeah. And they're trying to, I remember in the Obama administration, they were trying to print like a new coin or something,
Yeah.
is what they were saying, to hold the value for how much debt we owed China for something. That was a while ago.
The commies are running this place to the ground.
They've done that since the beginning. They've infiltrated even the rappers. So, Chase, now comes the ultimate question.
Okay, bring it on.
I figure we should wrap it up with a banger. How do you define a conspiracy theorist?
That's a tough one. So a conspiracy is just a group of people working together to do harm to another group of people. So a conspiracy theorist would be someone who has an idea that a certain group of people are conspiring. But the way that, how things are backwards today, people think that all conspiracies are theoretical. When they don't, like, how can you say that when a conspiracy is something that is?
Right. I don't know, but we're going to get to the bottom of this as we continue the series. Thank you all for tuning in, and good luck out there in finding your home.